Who is the most evil Disney villain? Let's find out.
ChrisCross. Oh, here we go, yo. ChrisCross. Hey.
It is the spooky season yet again. Tricks and treats are upon us, which got me thinking. Who are some of the most evil Disney villains? Or better yet, who is the most evil Disney villain? There's so many ways to rank this. I had to really think, ponder, wonder, how am I going to do this? And if I was, I have to do this properly. So I asked myself, what makes a villain a villain? Well, they essentially have an evil plan or a motive. Got it. They generally break the law. So like attempting to kill someone or murder someone, check. And then I came up with this 3-category criteria of how I'm judging this. And that's number 1, what is their plan? Number 2, did they kill anybody? And number 3, how close did they come to completing their plan? And no, I'm not basing this on how cool they look or how good the movie is. I'm just basing this on how evil they are. And now before I give my top 5, here are some notable runners-up that were too good that I just couldn't mention them in this video. We have the evil queen from Snow White. This psycho went as far as to hire a huntsman to kill and cut out Snow White's heart. And let's be clear, this woman knows some dark art magic and effectively killed Snow White, so she almost made it to this list. Almost.
You're quasi-evil.
Then there's Ursula, the sea witch, whom also knows some sick magic, turning poor unfortunate merfolk into worm-like creatures, almost taking over the 7 seas. Then there is Maleficent, who does effectively kill Aurora, so to speak, and turns into a huge dragon, almost killing the prince. And lastly, there's Hades, whom I love too much, but let's face it, he kidnaps his nephew, robbing Zeus and Hera from ever raising their little Herc, with plans to take over Mount Olympus. And he is the god of the underworld. But still,
You're the Diet Coke of evil.
but now, drum roll please, to the actual list of the most evil, deadliest Disney villains. Number 5 goes to Jafar from Aladdin, the man with the desire to find the lamp of the genie and become Sultan. But right off the bat, he's willingly killing just random people. Who knows how many people he's taken to the Cave of Wonders, and it doesn't even faze him one bit. Not to mention, he also attempted to kill Aladdin a few times, especially that one time he tied him up and threw him into the ocean, and also abandoning him in a frozen wasteland. Then he also shoved Jasmine into an hourglass, so he attempted to kill several times. And he not only comes close to his plan of ruling Agrabah, he in fact becomes the Sultan. Briefly, but he did it. He also became the most powerful sorcerer in the world and an all-powerful genie, even being one of the rare few Disney villains that returned after the first film to stir up more trouble. Not to mention, he's kind of pervy, easily making him number 5 on my list. Now moving on to number 4, Clayton from Tarzan. This guy is just a prick. He wants nothing more than to hunt and capture gorillas, using Tarzan to give up the location of his own family to accomplish his goal. He goes as far as to imprison our heroes in a hull of a ship while caging every gorilla in Tarzan's family, and in doing so, shoots and kills Tarzan's father, Kerchak. He got so close doing what he set out to do, but his aggressiveness led him to his own downfall, which I do dub the most gruesome Disney death to date. And number 3, Shan Yu from Mulan, the leader of the Huns, the invaders of China, and a mass murderer. That's right, this guy and his crew wanted to strip down China and its empire to the ground, and here we are shown the devastation of a village he destroyed, leaving no survivors, not even children. He is scary because he's all too real, and the destruction trail he leaves behind him is way too realistic. That is why he earns the number 3 spot on my list. Now, if you're a fan of this channel, you know my number 2. It goes without saying, it is Scar from The Lion King. Maybe one of the most iconic villains, but also certainly one of the most evil and successful. Scar's plan to take over the Pride Lands was set on very early in the film, displaying his distaste for his brother Mufasa and his nephew Simba. All he wants is to just be king, and he'll do so in taking out anybody that stands in his way. Scar goes as far to rally an army of hyenas to plot and successfully kill his brother, but one of the most villainous things he did was guilt and put shame on young Simba, allowing him to believe for the majority of his little life that he killed his own father. That's terrible. It's sick. Granted, Scar didn't know Simba would be alive for much longer, as he ordered the hyenas hyenas to kill him, but you know. And let's not forget Scar got what he wanted. He became king. A bad one, but a king nonetheless, and for a good length of time too. Scar tried to manipulate every situation, even until his bitter demise, making him the second best Disney villain. And now before we jump onto my number one pick, if you're a huge Scar or Lion King fan like I am, make sure to check out my last video where I talk about how Disney basically scrapped Scar's origin and how it's kind of disappointing.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
And now, for the big reveal, the number one Disney villain is none other than Hannah Montana. Okay, I wouldn't do that to you. Scary, yes, but not number one. The number one spot is Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I know what you're thinking. Really? Was he that bad? Let me tell you, he is probably the most realistic and disturbed villain Disney has ever put out. He is in charge of essentially governing France. He's in control of everything, pulling strings throughout the entire city, wiping away gypsies and sinners alike. But it's all under his own judgment, and he loves doing it. We are first introduced to him chasing a woman through the alleys and streets on a cold, dark night. He catches her, kills her, then proceeds to kill her baby. However, a priest catches him before he completes his devilish act and informs him that he can hide the truth from anyone, but not from God. And Frollo really fears for his soul. I mean, he sees every action he does as being righteous and holy. In his mind, he thinks he's doing the work of the Lord. And while he doesn't carry out killing the baby, he instead agrees to take care of the child only if it's locked away in a church for his entire life. He then names that baby Quasimodo, which means half form. Poor Quasi grows up alone, locked up in the bell tower, being brainwashed and abused by Frollo. One of my favorite lines from the movie is in the opening song, "Who is the monster and who is the man?" Which is great because the people originally thought Quasimodo was the monster, but in fact he is the man and Frollo is nothing more than that dastardly monster. And I'm not even done. When the character Esmeralda is introduced to the story, Frollo does not want to admit to himself he desires her, but he ultimately fantasizes the idea of being with her and blames her for his own sinful thoughts. He then proclaims that if she will not be with him, she will burn. And he does just that. This guy ties her up in the middle of the square and begins to put her on fire. That is until the heroes swoop in and save her life. But Frollo's every move in this movie is conniving, devilish, and downright evil. And what's scary is that he's not whimsical like Ursula or theatrical like Gaston. He's gritty and all too real. Frollo is the devil personified, and that is why Frollo is Disney's best villain. Now let me know what you think. What is your top 5 Disney villains? Is Hannah Montana on your list? Hey, maybe, just maybe, she almost made it on my list. I couldn't. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. And until the next video, my name is Chris and you've just been ChrisCrossed. Peace out.
Just one calorie.